No questions.
No questions.
Yes. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the application? So moved. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Would you like an extra set of drawings?
Yeah, but
Or yours? Good luck.
Okay, second is ARB 18-02, 18-02, 20 East Clinton Avenue, another edition. A little more substantial than the last one.
Good evening, John Scavelli representing the Burleys for the application for 20 East Clinton Ave. And then I just have a few packets to pass out. So the first one is just the pictures of the adjacent properties. Second one, person. You probably first represent this. Yes.
Yes, it's gonna.
Well, good evening, and the initial application. So there's an existing single-family dwelling at 20 East Clinton Ave, which is this structure right here, and the proposed application is to add a two-car garage off the side of the house, along with a master suite at the second floor level, and then at the first floor level, a mudroom at the rear side of the house. And as part of some of the previous approvals, we had to get a variance for an existing condition of a 0-foot side yard setback that was approved, but we're not changing that setback. It was an existing non-conforming condition. It's just kind of going over the floor plan. So this section here is the existing construction, and then the garage is being placed off the side. The reason for the setback is the existing house is actually non-conforming for its front yard setback, so to get the site plan approval, we actually had to set back the new addition to meet the front yard setback here. So as I was saying before, this new addition is going to be a garage space that goes to the rear side of the yard at the rear of the addition, and then that's going to connect into the existing construction. There's some alterations here, but essentially going to be the living room, dining room, and kitchen room with a powder room off the side. Any questions here? I'm going to keep going through. And then the second floor level is the existing construction is going to be 3 bedrooms and an existing bathroom. So in a renovation and some alterations of that space. And then the new addition is going to be the master suite with a master bathroom and a walk-in closet, which is above the garage area. So that's the new construction on this side. So in terms of the elevations, so the roof structure for the whole building is actually going to be updated. Currently, there's actually a kind of a flat shed roof that's going to be pulled off, and this section of the house is existing construction, but there'll be a new roof that gets a new gable roof all the way across, and then above the garage there'll be a reverse gable going back to just the garage section, and similar on the back side of the house there'll be another gable roof that's cutting into the back side of the addition. And then the cut sheet has some of the submittals on the window type. So the proposed windows are Anderson 200 series, and the paint color is sandstone. And then there is a cut sheet for the proposed color of the house. So there's existing lapboard wood siding, and then the proposed addition is to have the new lapboard siding to paint the entire house the one color. I don't know if there's any questions on the elevations.
The overall height of the roof?
It gets higher. It's 29 feet 6 inches for the new height.
Is the building that you're adding on to, does it have any historic relevance or anything like that?
So from my understanding is, I believe it was, it's about a 100-year-old structure, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it was one of the Tiffany's caretaker houses, I think is what happened. I think it was actually moved if I remember right. It was maybe a row house. I think I went through with Veronica Gadrich, who has a lot more.
Veronica lives almost next door.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you're kind of just engulfing whatever sort of aesthetic, historic character of the old structure.
Yeah, so we are keeping this front elevation. The roof structure, we did look at a different option of keeping that roof structure, and it wasn't tying in well. There's some pictures in that shows,
Yeah.
the existing slope structure that kind of slopes off to the side.
Yeah.
Can we go back to the site plan, or
Sure.
the existing? We have-
The existing site plan is up here,
Mhm.
and this is the proposed site plan.
Confused about this elevation.
Because the building is turned sideways in the
Yeah, I was
site
gonna
plan.
say that.
The building.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, this
would have been the original front of the building. But it
This
got-
is this.
No, that's a different house on the
Oh.
same, adjacent to it.
so yeah, I wrote that in because,
Yeah, they have the same.
They have the same
they have the
address.
property, the same address.
Oh. So this is in the rear of the property?
Yes.
correct, yeah.
The site plan shows the bottom, the long driveway.
So the front elevation is from this direction, yeah, so it's actually, there's two 20 East Clinton Aves, and this is the property in the rear.
Where's that porch right now? In that elevation,
This por,
okay.
Here.
So-
yeah, so it's looking back this way, the front elevation.
Look at that.
Yep.
I mean, if we were to put aside the fact that you're sort of engulfing and completely disregarding structure, I would say that in your elevations, there's the proportions of the cross gable on the garage feel odd having a higher eave line than the main mass of the house. It's as if you're weighing more importance to the garage piece than you are the house, and that just feels odd. In particular, with it being set back. So I actually think the drawing is wrong, because I don't know how that eave line could be in front of the gable. There's a line missing there. It's like weird. Oh no, I see, that's coming down lower.
Yeah, so what
Yeah.
happens, this is stepped
Yeah,
back,
that's odd.
so this
that's
foot
odd.
overhang, there's gonna be a foot overhang around here, and then the gable gets overframed.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, a simple gable structure is fine, but like that aesthetic is odd. It's like the fact that the eave line steps up in what is to be the secondary mass just feels weird. I mean, you've got a pretty high eave line for your ceiling heights on the second floor. I don't know why you couldn't just break the ridge and step the whole thing down.
We can.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. It's like
Yeah,
proportionally
it's odd.
to step it down. I think it's also, kind of that perspective too, but that's
Yeah.
certainly.
Yeah, that's what just feels, I mean, from the sides, it's not as
Mhm.
bad, but on the front, it definitely odd. And what's hurting you even more is the distance between the top of the garage door and the sill of the window. That distance is so large because there's no covered porch extending over there, so it's exaggerating that vertical face.
Mhm.
I don't know if there's definitely other ways to do it. And is this your house?
No. That's, I mean,
Property.
what's that?
Is it an investment?
Yeah, an investment property.
Those are my comments. I mean, really, the side elevation, there's something about that cross gable that doesn't feel right to me.
The garage element too, I mean, I couldn't explain it the way Andrew just did, but the materials along, so those doors are steel?
No, it'll be like an insulated, unless you want to do like a wood.
No, it's gonna be a white, it'll be a white material. It won't be necessarily steel.
Yeah.
And all the materials the same, you said it's
So it'll be, the existing structure will be painted wood lap siding, and the new structure is going to be new lap siding, but it'll all be painted one continuous color.
I would also take the entry steps and I would slide them over so they align with the front door, so you create more separation
Yeah,
off the corner of the garage, rather than having it butt up against that. It'll function better and it'll tie better in the landscape, and it creates a little more distance.
should the stairs be wider too, is what you're saying?
You could do them wider, you could just do the whole thing wider, or just at least centered on the front door. if I was really being nitpicky, I would say that the front door really doesn't go with the house
Yeah.
either.
Yeah, that's what I'm
It's
looking at too.
Exaggerated side lights with the,
With the,
you know.
The side lights,
With the
yeah,
windows, yeah.
don't feel like they belong.
and then you look at the doors, it just, that's, yeah, I would Now you're trying to probably let the light in, but it doesn't look like it's in keeping with the overall design, those
Okay.
side lights, as well as that type of door.
Yeah. Would you prefer no side lights? That have a smaller entry door, kind of keep the spacing, even that out a bit more.
Maybe, I mean, I get the benefit of side lights, or do one side light.
Yeah.
Just do it and put like, you know, some mullions going down, because you have the 6/1 windows.
Mm-hmm.
You're replacing all the windows, right?
Yeah, all new windows, correct.
So, and I'm looking at the other windows in the area. There are a lot of 2/1s, which is in keeping with the New York style window. I'm just wondering why the 6/1. I just flipped through here.
That was on the house now.
I mean, it's kind of a crazy building, the way it was done this way and turned sideways on the site.
Yeah, I think
It's
if
almost
you-
an impossibility to add on to it to maintain this. It's
No,
like-
no,
it's
no, I'm just
it's
saying if you're
weird.
gonna replace the windows,
Oh,
because there's
Why,
like.
yeah, why 2/1? Why not 2/1?
Right,
as opposed to
just
6/1?
sort of-
It really just comes into stock.
Well, I think
Windows
the
when you get
the
back into
houses
stock.
to this, to either side and in front of, Veronica's house.
There's 6/.
Veronica's?
Can I just ask a
No.
question? though? This is outside of the historic district, so
Yes.
there's no.
It is.
You can do whatever you knock, you do whatever
And
you want.
there's some pretty awful examples at the end of the street, so it's
Wow.
not like,
The
I think
neighbor
you gotta
too.
break. I think you gotta break the ridge here. I think you gotta make this a very clean, simple form, and you
Okay.
gotta drop this down and create separation from this new mass, from this old mass. Trying to extend this back over. It's all just roof space anyway. That's
Yeah, it's
cost
dead
more money to
space.
build.
Yeah.
Like I would just isolate that mass and create
And
this as
lower
just
that.
something that's lower
Mhm.
or separate, and you could do like a. You know, you could do an asymmetrical gable that folds down lower on the side. I mean, there's a lot you can do, but I would maintain that form, because anytime you tie a forward mass with this, it's just, yeah.
So the comment, again, I mean, there are plenty of examples like in the neighborhood where they made a decent effort to try and match the neighborhood, with long driveways and porches and it's either a big roof with things coming into it, or it's, all those elements that come into it, so such as the steps that are going up to the deck are wide, they're usually a bay wide, that's pretty typical that you see in town, or maybe half a bay wide. You don't, since you're tearing this thing up, you could just reset those columns and say it's 4 columns or 3 and something that's in proportion. Everything is like a little bit off, and I think you should down on the ground, same thing. Also, there's something in Irvington about having the scalloped shingles on the under the eave at the top. The funny thing was when I first saw this, I thought, oh, it's just whatever, something running into this. This is the primary form. And then I realized it.
I think you'll see what he's talking about as far as the scalp goes on the building that they're redoing at the top of Main.
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think those
And maybe
scallops are a little
and that eave that
modernized,
goes
the
across,
scallops.
you don't need that.
Did you see them?
And again,
They're not as
you're
nice
doing
as
extra
these.
work.
Not as nice as what?
I don't think they're as nice as these, the scallops, the ones on the top of Main Street.
No, either is the dark gray. And you have the ability to reset all the windows if you wanted to, right? You're re-shingling the whole thing.
Not necessarily, actually.
Oh, you're not?
No. We're gonna see, it seems like there might be some spot repairs on it. There's actually,
Looks like a decent, it's in need of a serious scraping.
it's in need of a serious scraping, and it's gonna be one of those things when I get into it to see if it all comes out. If it's easier, then it all comes out.
Why can't you just maintain the same eve line coming over and just drop the ridge and break it so it reads set back?
What's that? I'm sorry.
And lower that, come down. Lower all this
Yeah,
and
just
separate.
Just break this so that reads. Just drop this down, maintain the same eve line, and lower your ridge right there because it's set back.
Right.
And then the whole thing's broken. I don't know what happens on the side if it stretches out. That works.
Yeah, it
for
goes
the
back.
depth. Yeah,
Just the depth, it doesn't matter.
No,
you
there
should
it
be
is,
able
there it
to
is,
work
right
it
there.
out, because you're
Right,
doing
there it
the
is.
ridges, you're doing a new roof everywhere. Oh, it's very deep, actually.
Yeah. 5 feet step
Oh,
here.
I see, it's the
Yeah, but-
same, the other one, so technically the rig would be the same height, it would just be set back. Well, you guys have to figure it out, I think it looks good the way you have it. I'm only one.
Any landscape work that's going on?
So, we gotta go to the So there is one tree that's being removed right in this location where the stormwater management system's going, and there's going to be a new tree that gets replanted in the back. And then essentially it's going to be, there's all existing shrubbery around the sides, that's all going to be remained and cleaned up, and then basically reseeding the grass for any disturbance. And then the driveway, the new driveway, that gravel driveway.
Okay. Questions, ladies? So should we summarize what it is we have talked about up till now? And
Sure. Reduce the size of the presence of the addition. Keep it more in scale with the existing house. Reset the front porch or the deck. I think that was just about the front door. Not the front door.
The steps.
Yeah.
Front door.
Yeah. Think about a 2/1 instead of a 6/1.
So, because the original house has a mishmash of.
Yeah, I know, that's what I mean, but I look at the ones that were down the block, they're almost all 2/1s,
Right.
or 2/2, something like that.
Yeah, I thought I saw a different, it seemed like a bit of an assortment on the block, but I'm certainly amenable to 2/1.
What's in the front rooms over the garage? Are those 2 bedrooms or is it?
This is the master suite. Yes, that's just one bedroom.
There's the scallop here for.
Because you could drop the whole thing down and be dormers and do a 1.5-story structure, but you lose a little bit of square footage.
Right.
That would look the best.
Would you have you're saying dormers
Do
on
a
the
shed
side?
dormer across the front, a shed dormer across the back, 2 feet off each corner. You get, 92% of the floor area fully usable that you had before, and it would just look like a standard, like it would just look simpler. Because there's no other way to work, there's no other way to work out the gable to get the ridges to break. So I get why you did it the way you did it. But it just feels odd.
Have you make the changes that come back in 2 weeks, because we are meeting in 2 weeks.
Okay, you wanna
I mean,
vote on it, or?
is that, there's no approval, even if we say the amendment?
You know what, we often give conditional approvals,
Yeah.
but with the types of changes and things that need to be made, I'd be writing for 2 hours.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, look, I certainly have time to do some of this. I think, and it'll be more of a question I'll have with Ed of what I can do. Maybe he'll allow me to start demo permits and things like that if it's.
Between you and.
Yeah, but I'll work that out.
He's in Florida right now, so you're not gonna get him tomorrow, that's for sure. All right, so we're good.
Okay, so just to summarize, I know we talked about here, but also the front steps, doing something with that front door and the entry, the steps up, and then just looking at the potential of the 2-in-1 for the windows. That pretty much summarizes it.
We've concluded that doing the break on the roof and
Yep.
everything else.
Anything to break it and lower the ridge on the new part so it doesn't compete with the main mass, however you want to work that out. But I think the only way to do it is to drop it down and create big shed dormers across the front and back.
You're talking about creating shed dormers on the, let me see that, Andrew, are you talking about on the existing structure?
It's here,
You
it's just
should
going
do-
like this. This drops, because the depth of this is the same depth as that, so
Right.
therefore the roof mass is gonna be the same if you hold it if you drop it down. So you drop it down, and then you just create a big shed dormer like that, that goes like that, you still get all your windows, you know, it's the same thing, you just have low headroom in these corners on the front and back, and it looks adorable. Yeah, I mean, it does.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what I'm looking for, adorable.
Yeah, that's what you want. You want to get, yeah.
You don't want it to get.
Yeah, that's all it is. Just a big shed dormer across the front and back.
Right.
That's it. Because this roof and that roof are going to align, because the depth is the same.
Because you would have, yeah, I see what you're saying.
That's one way to do it.
The other way is to.
The other way is you'd have to actually cheat the roof lines and be different, but you guys can.
All right. All right, so we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yes.
And try to leave some scallop on there if you can. We like our scallop.
I don't, I personally hate it.
Yeah, I
You
don't know about the
hate it.
scallop, but
It's all over town.
I have my limits.
Scallop left.
Do you want these drawings back in case you need them?
Yeah, I'll take them back.
Here, you can read these.
What's the submission deadline for 2 weeks?
Tomorrow.
So you can stamp that, Andrew?
You could just put your name.
It's within the next Monday, or it's the end of the week.
Okay. Okay.
It's the same submission process for. Here we go.
I guess.
Same, okay.
For what?
For the next submission, the same number of sets and all that, yeah. Okay, thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody have anything more to add? I have nothing on, other than what we discussed with reference to the demo.
Do we have the opportunity to discuss something that was previously approved and now is under construction?
I was wondering.
Yes.
Oh, see, I'll call you.
Yeah.
That'd be fruitful, huh?
I know,
Yeah.
but I
As long as
just,
you're in public, you can.
yeah,
I'm gonna ask a question, if I can ask one quick question, for a different project. So I'm also doing, we just bought 26 Lewis, which is up over there, you know, kind of by the reservoir. So there's a question of.
It's in front of the old Kaplan house, right at the end of Lewis, staring at.
Yeah, it's a great, and I mean, I'm really excited about it. So we're in the process now, this is gonna be our primary residence. So the question is with it's 40 feet, right? Is it 40 feet to the peak? Is that what the height restrictions are, or is this 36? 36?
Mean grade.
Yeah, that's what the question is, do you
It's a
average
pain
out?
in the ass calculation.
it's really
Okay.
hard. You gotta do each of the lengths and then prorate them.
But it's possible, because it is on that hill,
Yes.
there's part of it that's built into the hill.
You need to have a conversation with Ed about that, because he'll
Okay.
tell you, based on the actual, house, and what angle to use, and how the
Right.
planning board, it doesn't matter how he wants to do it or how you want to do it, it's how the planning board's gonna accept it.
So it goes to the planning board for, that's all I'm trying to
That's
do,
all
is
planning
be as
board.
efficient
Yeah.
as possible. with
That's
that.
all
Do a
planning board.
massing thing and like went and show it to him and say,
Right.
does this work?
And there's no pre-floating ideas to the planning board, right? You gotta go through the whole. I mean, I'm still
Sounds
working
very
through
There are, I mean, you can,
It's like, you just don't wanna waste a lot of drafting. I mean, I'm working with John Malone.
Oh, well, he'll
on it.
know how to.
Yeah,
he'll
yeah, I know he
exactly
does,
what
and
it
it's just
is.
we're working through it, and he's gonna we're starting that process, but
Yeah.
for me, as a consumer, I'm like,
I
I
know.
don't wanna get into one
Months.
whole goddamn structure.
but he knows, and his partner was.
Yeah, he
sat
brought
in this
it
seat
up.
For a while, so
Okay,
he knows what's required.
yeah,
That's
it's just for my.
certainly-
When you
edification.
know it, it's not that hard to do. You can do it in 15 minutes.
Right.
You know how to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, what is that?
Good luck with it then.
Thank you.
Okay, well, property review, right?
113, I think? 113 Main?
You mean the fact that they pushed the front
yellow
back
house?
and they left the foundation and they put that
Yeah.
little roof thing on the bottom of it that nobody was ever in any drawing? There's like 15 things that were never in any of the drawings that should have on there.
No, I think you're right. I looked right by it, I'm like,
Yeah, that little roof thing on the bottom that's
The
called,
yellow house.
that's called a cheater.
No, no,
Right,
not
this is
the yellow
called a
house.
cheater.
Not the yellow
We
house.
didn't
They did
wanna-
it beautiful. They did a nice no, we're
You've
doing
done a nice job. I mean, it's
The top of the hill.
top of the hill.
That's 130.
130, okay. So we've noticed that there are some things that are on the house that really we didn't see. And what's the process to sort of bring, I don't want to trouble Bill, he's been through enough as
I
it
think
is.
somebody should just tell him he's gotta put some high bushes there that cover the
Yeah.
base of the building. That's really odd to have standing seam roof
Well,
on
tell
top
me
of
what
the
it is you want.
foundation.
So on the addition, there's a bump out that has this little metal roof piece, about 6 feet off the ground, 5 feet off the
No,
ground.
it's they just framed the floor deck above the foundation and
Yeah.
pushed the wall back. So the floor framing system is just canted.
You gotta go look at it to see it.
Yeah, did you write it down? So
Oh, I'm ready.
You write it down, okay.
West Addition,
It's the west addition, what it does, when we told him he's gotta break that corner and push that face back, they said fine, but they left the foundation of the building, which is
Exactly.
where the existing first floor wall was. So they just literally took it and pitched a small little roof piece back at the floor and then built the facade up on that.
okay.
So
Well, you know,
You're
it's
looking
too
at the
late
porch.
now, but,
Yeah.
you're looking at
yeah.
the porch. To the right, you'll see this piece of roof that's at the same level as the porch. We never saw a piece of metal or any sort of offset right there. And what we'd like to see happen is that he covers it.
Evergreen material, so it's green year
This
round.
So you never.
No, this is, you want a piece of paper, I'll draw it for you. On the back, so.
Doesn't everybody, every time they go up and down Main Street, look over at it?
Yes,
And everybody talks about it,
yeah.
Oh, really? People are talking?
a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
chatter,
That they don't like it?
they hate it.
And they're very upset with us.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know anybody, so nobody says anything to me.
You know what, listen,
Oh, yeah.
look at what's around them, you know, I mean, like, next to them and stuff, so.
They're actually doing a nice job. I mean,
Yeah, it
looks-
isn't easy from their world too, so I keep
I'm
hoping it's
against
gonna
the
look
dark
better.
gray and sort of denying, okay, so here's the porch, right? Porch roof. 1, 2, right, like this. And then right here is this funky, you also have to see it, metal, and in section, it does this. So you have metal roof here, and then you have the house that goes up, and then the shed, the funky shed.
Yep.
I'm getting way too much into this. So there's this is.
It'll
a piece
really
here.
bother you now.
Yeah. Okay?
I think they should just shrub
Just
them.
put a WTF here.
You know what, Jeff?
Well, we know exactly what happened. He left the foundation wall there instead of knocking it down.
That's genius. That's genius.
And then the concrete steps. Whatever.
We didn't tell them to get your concrete steps.
No, we did not tell him to do concrete
So
steps.
shouldn't we say something about that?
What are we going to do?
What were they supposed to be made out of?
Wooden.
Wood,
Wood.
yeah.
I mean, at least we should say something if we're gonna raise it.
We're not asking him to tear it down. We are.
Yeah.
Cover it up.
As long as he takes the sign down.
Okay, that house could burn to the ground and that sign is gonna stay right where it is. I guarantee.
I think he's taking the sign down.
He knows he's not gonna get anything close to it, so.
Fix the steps and we don't. Yeah, no, there's a lot of people who hate it.
Motion to
Oh,
adjourn.
really?
Hate it.
Second.
But, you know, no one's really saying, like, because